Welcome back to It's Not a Sport. Welcome back to It's Not a Sport. This week there are a lot of small, tiny bits of announcements. Not a whole lot going on. There are, however, good releases. Preferably, what releases today is the big announcement we'll be talking about later on the show. Is Call of Duty Black Ops 4. The esports scene, and especially League of Legends, has been spiking up with a lot of good games if you're not NA to watch. And we're going to just hop right into esports with Worlds. Right now, and since the group stage ended last weekend, the teams that moved on, G2 was put in Group A. Cloud9, of course, was put in Group B. Edward Gaming, I'm pretty sure, which they were the last, were put in Group C. And G-Rex was put in Group D. And those were the groups that they were put in. In terms of the group stage, which happened, I believe it started Tuesday of this week and is still going on tonight and will continue Tuesday next week. In Group A, Flash Wolves is in first. They're 2-0. Then Buffaloes is second. They're 1-1, tied with G2, which is 1-1, and A Freak of Freaks is 0-2. In Group B, Royals Never Give Up, which is the favorite to winning the tournament, are 3-0. Team Vitality, which is 1-2. Gen G, which are the defending world championships, are tied with 1-2, and Cloud9, who are also tied for 1-2. With Group C, Edward Gaming is 2-0, tied with KT Roster, which is another favorite for winning the tournament. They're also 2-0. Team Liquid is 0-2, and with Mad Life is also 0-2. In Group D, Invictus Gaming is 2-0, with 100 Thieves in second place, which is 1-1, tied with Fnatic, which is 1-1, and G-Rex, which is 0-2. The games for tonight will be A Freak of Freaks versus Buffalo, G2 versus Flash Wolves, Invictus Gaming versus 100 Thieves, G-Rex versus Fnatic, Team Liquid versus Mad, and KT versus Edward Gaming. If you're in Central Time Zone, which is the Central Time Zone that I live in, the stream starts at 2:30 a.m. and the games will start at 3 a.m. going all the way to 8 a.m. with 2 p.m. being the rebroadcast. In terms of quality of games right now, some have been fun to watch than others. As a fan of North America, coming from North America, North American fans are always disappointed, but this for me has been extremely disappointing. It's been very difficult and hard to watch. Just 100 Thieves get stomped by Fnatic. They took one off of G-Rex, but it was, wasn't very super convincing. Cloud9 getting stomped. They took one off of, I believe, Vitality. And Vitality took one off of Genji. And then seeing Team Liquid, they haven't won a single one, and they're supposed to be our best team. We are arguably, yes, the worst region. A lot of players have been getting slack. Pro Belter and Team Liquid internationally seems to be getting a lot of the slack. I think he's a very good mid laner. There's a lot with 100 Thieves. as well, because 100 Thieves roster earned through championship points, and they aren't the same team that won those championship points. EU's looking pretty well, and they've seemed to be upsetting a lot of games as well. Korea's looking a lot weaker than the past years, and they're saying that the gap is definitely almost closed, and China's just really stomping. And then that's kind of the news. I recommend you watch maybe the Korean versus Chinese games. Uh, they're the only real entertaining games. If you really want to watch something brutal, then watch the NA games. In terms of the Overwatch League, nothing's going on still. It doesn't start back up to, I believe, November, or the World Cup, that is, at BlizzCon. That's it. We're going to probably talk a little bit more esports next week, since the group stage will be over. And we'll be going on to the semi-finals. Moving on to our next segment, we're going to talk about Call of Duty this week, my history of it, just like last week with Assassin's Creed, and how it has evolved and kind of changed as a game, as well as kind of the esports scene of it, which I believe is kind of what has kept it alive. Let's move on. Alright, so the small kind of announcements that have been going on this week, and also I would say ton of rumors, so take them with a grain of salt. The first one being that next year we're supposed to have a new version of the Switch, supposedly. This makes sense, since it would be, I believe, the third year of the Switch in March. So to get a new version of it would make sense. I don't exactly know what they would change, but I do think the Switch already is just a very well-made product. There's also rumors that Sony has been starting the next PlayStation 5, but this has been going on for a while, since the PlayStation 4 is actually pretty old. It came out in 2013, and that was like 5 years ago, so it's a pretty old piece of technology, and it's probably about time that they did release a PlayStation 5, though it probably wouldn't have a huge bunch of changes, but it would be nice. There's also been rumors of PlayStation, finally, by the grace of, all that is holy and, holy shit, they're working on the PlayStation Network ID change. My PlayStation Network ID, I made when I was 10 years old, and I was a fan of Ben 10 at the time. So it's literally my name and then 10. It is so old, so out of date, and disgusting, and I don't even go by it anymore. I go by Salty Waffles. This is the case for a lot of people. A lot of my friends did the same thing, where it's some variation of their name, and then numbers, because that's what you do at that time. And then as you grow up, you have, you assume an identity, and it becomes, Salty Waffles, or my friend, maybe they go by Salty Biscuits, or some other weird type of abbreviation, like Jimbo, or, whatever. But rumor has it that Sony's now finally working on it. It's going to cost money. It's going to be cheaper if you're a PlayStation Plus member. It's going to cost money to change, and it will only work on major games on the PlayStation, like new games from when it's released, and the big super popular games on the PlayStation. which is weird. So if you're playing, I don't know, a small type of game that's not popular multiplayer, like Little Big Planet, I guess off the top of my head, it would still be your old ID. But if you play something like Destiny 2, it would be your new ID. I don't know, it's weird. It's going into testing. There's also Microsoft buying Obsidian Games. Uh, Microsoft, I feel like, is the Disney of the gaming world, but they're struggling. And they're struggling in the sense that these, like, uh, they just don't have a whole lot of good IPs um, on the Xbox. So, them buying Obsidian Games, them trying to acquire more studios to maybe get an IP that actually works, uh, good on them is really what I can say. In terms of that, uh, releases are kind of, there's a lot of small releases. The next two big releases for this month are probably Red Dead Redemption, which comes out at the very end of the month, and uh, Dark Souls Remastered comes out next week. But the big one is Call of Duty, which we are going to hop into right about now. Like many people who play Call of Duty, I think grew up, at least my generation, we started with either Modern Warfare 2 or Black Ops, the original Black Ops. So you're either a Modern Warfare 2, and that was your first kind of Call of Duty, which was mine, and that's by far probably one of my favorite. And then Black Ops, which was another great Call of Duty. Um, and then if you're probably older than me, uh, just graduated college, you probably started with Modern Warfare, the first Modern Warfare, which I also started playing. So that's technically my first one, but when I first got my first PS3, Modern Warfare 2 was my first Call of Duty. I have a lot of fond memories on Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, and Black Ops 2. Those were probably my favorite Call of Duties of all time. And then when the last Black Ops came out, which was Black Ops 3, I thought that it was a step up because Call of Duty was going in a spiral, it was falling off, like it still is. Um, so when that came out, and I actually bought that to play with zombies. That was kind of my primary reason to buy Call of Duty now, is to play Nazi zombies. I actually completed the Revelation Easter egg, and you can see me completing it, I believe on one of my YouTube channels. I believe on the Salty Waffles YouTube channel. I have a very bad quality stream of me completing it. But those were the Call of Duties. Uh, Back then, it was simpler. It was, no fucking crazy kill streaks, no running on walls, no, you know, no crazy stuff like that. It was more like stupid OP broken game mechanics, like the perk system and quick scoping was huge back then, and it was, they were fun games. But people get bored of it, and when people, evolve as they grow and get older, they want to see new things. And I think when I got bored of it and when Call of Duty truly fell off for me was when Call of Duty Ghosts came out. When Call of Duty Ghosts came out, it was, Ghost wasn't popular, but that's when it really fell off for me. Uh, I know that the last year's Call of Duty, uh, World War II, which was them kind of copying off of Battlefront, did very well, but still I wasn't really that intrigued. This Call of Duty, however, has two things running up for me. The first one, of course, being zombies. I would buy it to play zombies with my friends. Sadly, I don't have a PlayStation subscription. That's what they were going to do. They were doing it on PlayStation. But zombies and completing the Easter eggs is such a fun activity, and it's the story for zombies, if you can somehow manage to follow it, is so fucking wacky and out of this world and crazy that it's super. It's fun. I mean, it's fun. It's the one fun Call of Duty factor that I felt like just how Treyarch does their zombies have just like stayed irrelevant since World at War, and it has stayed, that there's a big enough community behind it that people would buy the game just to play zombies, and I'm actually part of that community. The multiplayer is just so stale and out of date that no one wants to do it. But the zombies, the story, the new mechanics, the wacky shit that they do with that is why probably people my generation it would still buy Call of Duty. If you're not, then you're playing Fortnite or PUBG, which leads to the second part of this Call of Duty, is that it does indeed have a battle royale, and it has gotten very good reviews. IGN has said if you want a battle royale, which does not have building, which is arguably the most annoying part of Fortnite and the most interesting part of Fortnite, then you play Call of Duty, because PUBG has been a game that's been dying for a long time, and they're saying that this Call of Duty Battle Royale I believe it's called Blackout, is the better version of PUBG's Battle Royale. And my friend Kane, he's been on the show before, played it, and he said that it was a lot of fun, and it was, much better than PUBG. I know he's not a fan of the building in Fortnite, but it was much better than PUBG, and it was a lot of fun. So I feel like a lot of people are probably going to, if you're playing PUBG, or you play Fortnite but you don't like the building, you're probably going to switch over to Call of Duty Battle Royale. And I think that it will, if they do it right, like they kind of do it with their with multiplayer, they can push a big esports scene for it, kind of following Fortnite's glory. I think they can definitely do it, and I think now's the best time to do it with all the great reviews that has gotten being a better PUBG. Because Call of Duty does have a decent esports following in multiplayer. There is a league organization, I believe it's the organization, I think it's Clutch. I think it's Clutch Gaming, has a huge Call of Duty following. And they can now start a Battle Royale team in Call of Duty, which if they're going to push esports for that, now would be the time. From multiplayer, from what Kane also told me when he played it back in the beta on PC, it was just same old, nothing new. I don't think anything could top that. It's same old. They've been struggling to find their place, remaking it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again each year. And I don't think some can be better than others, but I don't think they're ever going to find their place. I think League of Legends is also kind of going through a similar thing. Well, now it's just an old game. It's about 10 years old or so, or it's coming up on 10 years old. And, it's stale. And with the new Battle Royale Fortnite stuff, fucking way up there. It's time to kind of move on. But that's a different story, where like Battle Royale is huge in the United States and Western North America, but in China, League of Legends is huge. It's growing. Their population is out of control. Like, they have way too many players for the servers. But that's different. Um, I believe this Call of Duty also still does have a story, though it's very light. Uh, Meaning there's not a whole lot to it. It's they did say, in past earlier in the year, I believe, right? Earlier in the year, they said that they were not going to focus on story anymore. I think it makes sense because of now they have the Battle Royale mode to focus on. So they don't want to, top all the, have too much that they can work on. So I understand them cutting down the story, but it's kind of sad. I always thought the Call of Duty stories were fun in a way. They're better, of course, with Black Ops and with the Numbers Mason and Modern Warfare 2, with Soap and all that. They're just kind of fun. It's like you're playing an action movie. That's how I always took Call of Duty. Is that you're just playing an action movie. I wasn't really in it for the writing. The writing was just generally kind of dog shit. It was just kind of, shoot shit. But it overall, this new Call of Duty Black Ops has gotten very good reviews. It's been, I think Treyarch knows how to make a Call of Duty game at this point, and they know how to do it right. They know how not to underdo it and not how to overdo it. People just want, simple, I want to say. They don't want running on walls and crazy shit. They just want a simple kind of Call of Duty with maybe some fresh new looks at old things. But it has been getting very good reviews. The zombie looks very interesting. I'm sure people are already hunting for how to complete the Easter egg. And just, exploring the new zombie maps as well as the Battle Royale and just trying to figure out, how things work in Battle Royale, as well as the multiplayer, and people are just grinding out the levels in multiplayer. I'm going to talk about kind of what I hope this Call of Duty can get out of, what we can get out of this Call of Duty. So, what do I like to see them bring out this Call of Duty? Which I think they do bring out again, is the 1v1 potential. I think Call of Duty was why people liked it so much is because you didn't have to rely on anybody but yourself. And over the years, they did make it more team-based, but then they added a lot of bullshit where it wasn't really about individual skill. It was more about, can my bullshit beat your bullshit, so to speak. Because back in the day, where it's Modern Warfare 2, everyone was quick-scoping. Everyone used a sniper. Everyone was quick-scoping. And then you had the occasional camper who wasn't that good, so it would just, hide in a corner somewhere and just, wait for someone to come over. And then you had the one dude with the SMG just running around, just killing everybody. And that was, that was the idea of Call of Duty. And then as things changed, they lost that. So I think they brought it back, especially with Battle Royale. I think that's why people like Battle Royale so much, is because it is a 1v1 fest. You don't have to really rely on anyone. It's kind of your own, your own skill. And with the Battle Royale, if you go on Twitch right now, on the day I'm recording this, which is Friday, and Call of Duty's released today, and you go to Black Ops 4, nobody's really playing multiplayer. They're all playing the Battle Royale game mode. I honestly think that this game mode is probably what is going to save Call of Duty because it brings back the 1v1. It brings back that camper, sadly. It brings back the dude running around with the SMG. It brings back that sniper. It's basically a larger scale of One for All, or whatever the 1v1 game mode was called, brought back with the Battle Royale trend, where it's not how, it doesn't matter your level, it doesn't matter how high you are and what guns you have if the other opponent doesn't, because everyone can get the same gun, or can't get the same gun depending on the loot that you find, because people do like looting. It's part of the surprise of, same reason we open boxes on Christmas is to see, what we get. So I think that's what is bringing back Call of Duty. I'm actually happy that it is succeeding. I probably won't pick it up unless it goes on sale, which it probably never will because Activision doesn't like these things to go on sale. But I am happy that it is succeeding. I hope that there becomes a huge esports scene, and I hope it also gives Fortnite a run for its money. Fortnite's kind of the new man's Minecraft, and Call of Duty was also, it was the old school. It was like, you played Minecraft, you moved to Call of Duty, or you played Call of Duty and you moved to Minecraft. It's kind of vice versa, and I feel like we're kind of repeating ourselves, and that's what's going on here again. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this week's episode. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching It's Not a Sport. Check out the links in the description where you can find everything and all sources of It's Not a Sport. Also check out the stream where you can find some quality content. This is Salty Waffles signing off, and tune in next week for another great episode.